残的人心已碎，未曾放下的人怕回忆，早已习惯于孤独缠绵，如今不能再爱你，让暖阳护你周全，若在千山细水长流，如今不能再爱你，让暖阳护你，未曾放下的人怕回忆，早已习
你这还要做到几点钟？
明天早上6点。
现在已经是1点钟了。
让深夜的眼泪颠沛流离，
还没做完吗？
你何必假装快乐，我何必真心难过。
你看看现在的孩子压力有多大，这才上几年级呀？这背着这么大包的东西。
你在干嘛？
我曾经等过你，因为我也相信你说的晚
这是学习最重要的。你想想，你上高中的时候，1周1节，我不要说什么2、3天1节，1周1节很难吗？哪有人能受到1周1个7节全是正课呀？谁受得了啊？晚上就10分钟，就10分钟洗漱时间。洗澡上男生晚了还通报你，说你这说你那，通报你。我不抱怨，我不觉得烦恼，谁也烦恼啊。
In China, we often hear the saying, "Don't let children lose at the starting line." However, in reality, Chinese children are not losing at the starting line, but are overworked at the starting line. From kindergarten onward, the entire society and families are highly focused on children's learning. Chinese parents send their children to various training classes, and they may not be clear about how much their children have actually learned, but they feel more at ease doing so. In pursuit of so-called high-quality educational resources, such as school districts, prestigious kindergartens, and key primary and secondary schools, parents have made tremendous efforts and paid a huge price. But in this process, children's most precious vigor and longing for the future may be exhausted. Although they have read many textbooks, they may have lost their humanity and inner light in this process. I understand the expectations and anxieties of Chinese parents, but I must point out that there is an inherent misunderstanding of happiness and life in Chinese society. Real education is not about gaining titles or wealth, but about cultivating a complete and characterful person. When the entire country aspires to stand out, it is worth pondering whether this mindset is normal.
I wasn't a natural straight-A student. I still remember when I was in 1st grade, my homework was always filled with red crosses, indicating my less than stellar performance. However, my mother was very patient and would spend a lot of time teaching me. We would study together for hours every day after returning home. Gradually, I began to catch up with the learning pace. It can be said that my current good grades are closely related to my mother's hard work. Nowadays, I mainly rely on focused listening in class and completing homework on time every day to maintain my learning progress. Of course, the road to learning is not without pressure. I aspire to get into a good school, but I am also aware of my many shortcomings. For example, I have little exposure to mathematical Olympiad problems and limited understanding of extension questions, making me weak in these areas. Therefore, I am working hard to make up for these deficiencies. When I see my classmates around me exhibiting talents in various fields, such as programming and sports, which are unfamiliar to me, I feel a sense of pressure. As a child, I had no concept of pressure. However, as my understanding of the transitions from elementary to middle school entrance exams, and college entrance exams gradually deepened, pressure began to emerge from the 4th grade onwards. Previously, due to excessive pressure, I even had difficulty concentrating in class. Now, I am learning how to balance and manage this pressure so that I can better focus on my studies.
Today, the biggest challenge facing Chinese education is not involution nor issues related to children's rebellion and adolescence. These problems have existed since ancient times. However, the most significant difference between today's era and the past lies in the fact that the rate of study weariness among primary and secondary school students has reached 73.3%. This is currently the most pressing issue. So, why do Chinese children hate learning? The primary reason is their poor academic performance, coupled with dissatisfaction and disdain from their parents, which makes children believe that poor grades are the root cause of being disliked. Parents use academic performance to judge a child's value, and children feel that everything they are hated by the world stems from poor grades, leading to a sense of antagonism towards learning. The fundamental reason for such a high rate of study weariness lies in Chinese society's tendency to measure children's achievements solely based on academic performance. When children fail to achieve good grades in school, they often feel responsible for causing their parents' displeasure. This evaluative approach significantly undermines children's self-confidence and impacts their mental health. Many parents tend to blame external factors such as the environment and educational system, arguing that schools and teachers only focus on grades, thus leaving them with no choice but to follow suit. However, this is merely an evasion of responsibility. In reality, many parents are unwilling to admit their own shortcomings and only justify their actions. This habitual tendency to shirk responsibility only adds more pressure on children. Nowadays, the trend of involution in Chinese society has affected even elementary school students, who bear the burden of heavy homework on their young shoulders, becoming victims of social involution. Elementary school students face a wide range of pressures. School curricula are tightly packed, with a considerable amount of homework and revision tasks assigned daily, leaving little to no time for play and rest. Parents have high expectations for their children, hoping they can achieve excellent academic results, gain admission to prestigious schools, and secure a bright future. Meanwhile, due to intense social competition, elementary school students are compelled to participate in various competitions and exams, investing a significant amount of time and energy in preparation.
My name is Yang Xinyu, a freshman in high school. Recently, I have been feeling immense pressure, especially as the midterm exams are approaching. I feel resistant to going to school, but I dare not confess this to my parents. I seem to have some psychological issues because my academic performance has plummeted from excellence in junior high to the bottom in high school, with my physics score being only in the teens. This makes me feel very frustrated and anxious. This morning, I vomited due to physical discomfort. However, since I hadn't eaten breakfast, all I could vomit was stomach acid, which made me feel extremely unwell. I tried to tell my parents about my predicament, but I was afraid they wouldn't believe me because I had pretended to be sick to skip school before. Recently, I often feel my heart racing, and I have difficulty falling asleep at night. Even if I manage to fall asleep, I wake up in the early hours of the morning and cannot go back to sleep. I am the class monitor, but this identity brings me tremendous pressure in the teacher's eyes. The class monitor should be a student with excellent grades, but my grades have been declining steadily. I feel very regretful and guilty about this. I once took an online depression test, and the results indicated that I might have depression. However, I am skeptical about this myself, unsure if I am subconsciously pretending to be ill. I have had thoughts of suicide before, but when I think of my loved ones and friends, I cannot bring myself to do it. I am afraid of pain and leaving this world and the people I love. The upcoming midterm exams make me very anxious because I feel like I haven't learned much in the past month. I often let my mind wander in class, and I don't have a clear goal. I don't know what university I want to attend in the future or what career I want to pursue. I am feeling very lost and helpless now. My grades are poor, and it seems like I also have psychological issues. Perhaps this writing is just a record of my emotional lows or the beginning of my psychological problems.
怎么了？你说慢点，说慢点，爸爸说慢点，别急。
我感觉每天都过得很急，
晚上一回来，吃完东西洗完澡、洗完衣服、写作业，但是写完作业之后要背书，但是11点多睡觉之后5点多就起来，然后5点30多我就起来，但是我真的是太想睡了，这5点40多的时候起来，但是老师又说6点半之前到学校，但是我7点多到学校还要发作。
Recently, two pieces of news have sparked widespread concern among parents in Beijing. The first news reported the overcrowding of patients at the Child Psychiatry Department of Peking University 6th Hospital. Many children are unable to attend school due to symptoms such as mental breakdown, anxiety, and handwriting tremor. This phenomenon is shocking and has sparked deep reflection on children's mental health. Just when everyone was wondering why this was happening, another news story revealed part of the reason. The news reported on the phenomenon of students being confined during school breaks, pointing out that more than 70% of students do not leave the classroom during breaks, and the outside of the classroom is unusually deserted. Some students reported that the 10-minute break is often occupied by delayed classes and early classes, leaving them no time to go to the toilet. In addition, students need to wait in line to get water during breaks, and teachers encourage them not to leave the classroom, making children afraid to drink water, let alone use the restroom at school. Coupled with the extended services provided by the school, children are studying for up to 15 hours a day, from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m., sometimes even up to 16 hours. This long-term learning pressure and lack of rest undoubtedly have a serious impact on children's physical and mental health. After watching these children's stories, I felt a mixture of emotions. Studying diligently from morning till night, carrying a backpack heavier than themselves, with laughter and tears intertwined, such days are honestly too burdensome. Education is supposed to be a process of enlightening thoughts and broadening horizons, but now it seems more like a war without smoke. Every child has to bear heavy equipment and struggle forward. Is this educational model, which only focuses on scores and results, cultivating future creators or creating exam machines? Children's smiles have become so rare, and even the most basic joys of childhood have been ruthlessly deprived. Is this really what we want? Education should not only be about competition and scores, but should also focus on children's mental health and comprehensive development. What we need is to cultivate children to become thoughtful, creative, and freely expressive individuals, rather than letting them lose the color of their childhood under endless pressure. Do you agree? Feel free to leave a comment below and discuss with us. That's it for this video. Meanwhile, please click subscribe to stay updated on the latest programs. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time.